In this video, I am going to discuss about one of the MCDM method called as Preference Selection Index method. Here, the acronym of PSI is Preference Selection Index. This method was proposed by Kalpesh Manya and MB Bhatt in the year 2010. And why we have to use the PSI, Preference Selection Index? Here, basically for selection of the best alternative in most of the MCDM methods, we are going to select based upon the relative importance between the attributes. But here, we are not trying to select the relative importance between the attributes. And here, in this procedure, we can directly, the procedure itself will tries to give us weights based on the objective type of methodology. One of the major thing here is the computational complexity is very low. Within a minimum number of steps, we can able to complete this methodology. And the most important thing is whenever there exists a conflict in between the deciding parameters, for example in the alternatives. So this particular method will tries to give a proper justification to estimate the relative importance between the attributes. So coming to the procedure of PSI, what are the various kinds of procedural steps? There will be 5 procedural steps here. First one is, as usual in most of the MCDM methods, we are trying to formulate the decision matrix. And the second one is also one of the popular methodology, that is normalization. So here the normalization is going to be take place in 2 cases. If the attributes are considering larger the better, or it is a beneficial attribute, then we have to use this formula. If it is a smaller the better, or it is a non-beneficial attribute, then we have to use this formula. Next, step 3 is we have to go for computing the preference variation value. So the preference variation value is going to be depend upon the value which we have got from the second step, and then by using this particular formula we are going to estimate it. And step 4 is we are going to determine the overall preference. So this overall preference here, this overall preference itself, here we can able to estimate the weights also by using this overall preference values. After then, we are going to obtain the preference selection index. So based on this preference selection index values, we are going to rank our alternatives. Here, I will take a simple case study where we are going to select a material for one particular application. So basically material selection attributes will be the hardness of the material, the machinability rating of the material, the cost of the material, the corrosion resistance, how it is going to withstand. There might be multiple alternatives, but these are the attributes. Among these attributes, hardness, machinability rating, corrosion resistance are the beneficial attributes, whereas cost is a non-beneficial attribute. So let us take this example in an Excel sheet, and I will try to solve this by using an Excel sheet. So this is the data which we are going to be consider for solving our PSI methodology. And here, if you can able to observe, there are 6 alternatives for us. That is, 6 types of materials are there with us. So here the first most step is we have to estimate the formulation of decision matrix. So this is our decision matrix we have formulated. After formulation of the decision matrix, we have to go for the second step, that is normalization. So before going to normalization, what I am doing is here I am going to estimate the maximum and minimum values. So here the beneficial means I need to consider the maximum value, and here also beneficial, but here it will be non-beneficial, so I will have to take minimum value for the cost. Next, and here again it is beneficial, I will have to take the maximum value of this particular things. Maximum of. So these are the values of beneficial and non-beneficial estimations. So now why I am trying to look over is, in the second step we are having this formula. For the larger the better, we have to use Xij divided by Xij max. So here also I am trying to apply the similar methodology here. What I will do is, for beneficial, Xij divided by max of Xij. So press F4 to make that particular cell locked. Similarly, the second column also xij divided by this particular value f4. And next third one is, here the formula will be different for thing x minimum divided by xij. So x minimum divided by xij, and here also it will be again with respect to the previous one, that is this value divided by this value, like this. So how many beneficial? 3 beneficial and 1 non-beneficial. After completing, I am just dragging it downside. Here I have to estimate the mean, that is average. So what I will do is, I will take the formula called as average, and then up to the last one. So now this is going to give me the average of this entire matrix. After taking the average of these particular values, then we have to calculate this PV value. So for calculating this PV value, we are having Rj is nothing but our normalized values, and Rj is the mean value. So what I will do is, here for calculating this one, what I will do is, I will simply take first of all this, only this particular thing, that is Rj minus the Rj bar f4 whole square. Similarly, I will do it for the next column also. Similarly, I will do it for the next column. Like that I have repeated. For this 6 alternatives, we have done the all necessary steps. Now what we have to do is, we have to take the summation. So summation also, how we have to take? We have to take like this, is equal to sum of this entire thing. So now this is our preference value which we have got from the formula, and this one I can able to term it as step 3. Now step 4, what we have to consider is, we have to go for estimation of overall performance. But here the overall performance we can able to take place only with respect to whatever the preference value which we have got in the previous step. 1 minus preference value we have to consider it here. So that is what I am doing it here, is equal to 1 minus this particular value. Like this I have to drag it to the last case. Okay, so this will be giving the value of theta j. This is the value of the theta j. Next what we have to do is, we have to estimate the weights here. So how we will estimate the weights means, is equal to this divided by summation of this entire values, close enter, and drag it to the last. So almost we can able to estimate our weights. Now you have to understand that this weights in most of the cases it should be equal to 1. So let me check it. You can able to cross verify it. The sum will be definitely is equal to 1. So now we have determined the overall performance also. Okay, overall preferences values which respect to this particular value we have determined. So here I can able to write it as step 4. So now we have to enter into step 5. So step 5 is nothing but our Rj value multiplied by that weights value. So here we are having Rj values, right? Rj value is this one. So Rj value multiplied by this weights we have to consider. So how I will do is, so this multiplied by this value, and this one has to be fixed onto the row wise. So that's why what I am doing is, I am pressing F4 2 times so that it will be notched it here. If you drag it to the next column, this will be highlighted. Okay, if you drag it to the next column, this will be highlighted. If you drag it to the next column, this will be highlighted. Okay, so similarly at what alternatives we have to drag it up to 6 alternatives. So 6 alternatives we have got it. We can cross verify it at any time. Okay, So this is the matrix which we have got only with respect to the summation. Now what we have to do, we have to go for multiplication we have done. Next we have to do the summation is equal to sum of this entire set and then drag it to the bottom. Okay, so this will be my step 5, ranking the values is equal to rank of this comma this entire level F4, enter and drag it to the bottom. So this is my ranking methodology which I have got, and from here I can able to say that fifth material is the best material, that is this material, because fifth material has rank 1. So I am trying to say that this material is the best material. Okay, so this is the way how we have to solve the preference selection index methodology. Thank you.